guys, this is Shane, aka One-Eyed Jack in the YouTube universe. I'd like to thank everybody for all the comments and interest in my one-eyed videos and goofiness. But on a more serious note, everybody keeps asking, how the hell did I lose my eye? Well, here's the backstory. In May of 2004, I was serving in Iraq on a tour. We were coming back from a mission at Base Ridgeway, which is a Marine-controlled base, and we were heading back to Anaconda, which was my base of operations. I was an M249 gunner, or a SAW. It's a machine gun that's belt-fed, 850 rounds a minute, fun little weapon. Anyway, we were almost back to our base. We were about 75% of the way home. We were going through Baghdad. We were coming off of a highway, and we were getting onto a cloverleaf exchange, just like we have here in America, and we slowed down about 25 miles an hour. I was sitting in a 915, which is a tractor-trailer, just like the semis we have here, but a military version, and I was sitting in the passenger seat with my machine gun. As we were coming around the curve, I looked down and saw scorch marks in a gutter. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, they're putting explosives in gutters now. About a split second later, right as I thought that, everything went black instantly. My head snapped back. I felt like I was hit in the face with a baseball bat. And the high-pitched squeal and everything sounding distant like you would see in the movie Saving Private Ryan, that's what happens. I could hear on our radios going crazy, but it sounded like they were a million miles away. The driver, I could hear her yelling, "We're hit, we're hit." And for a second, I was just stunned in the blackness, and then I started to feel a very thick liquid, kind of like it would be like oil, just pouring down over my face, and it was really hot. Well, that was my blood. And it was coming out my arm, down my face, and the pain didn't register right away. Mind you, I was completely blind. And then it dawned on me what happened, and I started screaming. I'm not going to pretend I was a tough guy. My face had just got blown off. So I remember clawing at the driver who was next to me, screaming, "My eyes, my eyes." They rushed out of the combat zone about a mile ahead and set up a perimeter. This is what the folks in my unit have told me. And they pulled me out, and I remember being laid down on the asphalt and being hot, and them starting to take my clothes off. I didn't have the luxury of going into shock. I was conscious through this whole event. I knew that I kept asking them how bad it was, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to be fine, Farland, you're going to be fine." And they were asking for combat lifesaver, which is a medic. And I remember somebody said, "Oh my God," and I could hear my partner saying, "Shut the fuck up," because no matter how bad somebody's hurt, you're never supposed to react like that. And I said, "Well, I know you guys are lying to me. It's pretty bad." I started to get weaker from the blood loss, and I told my partners and them to say my goodbyes to my currently ex-wife, but at the time my wife and my unborn child, to tell my wife and my son I love them. They got me up into an air conditioning contractor's vehicle. They called in a medevac, and they were sitting there talking to me. Somebody was holding my hand, and I used to be the joker of the unit. You guys wouldn't believe that, seeing my videos. But I said, "Hey guys, better get a picture of this. I want to see this." And they were like, "No, Farland, we're not going to take a picture," which pisses me off now, considering I survived. I would like to see how fucked up my face was right as it happened. Later I found out when they got back talking to some of the guys that witnessed it that my eye was actually hanging out on by its cords. My right one. Slowly started to slip away, said my goodbyes, and started praying. Figured that this was it. Better make good. Because I started to get weaker and weaker from the blood loss. Finally they got me on a stretcher, and I could hear them yelling, and it got farther and farther away. Their voices was just, "Hang on, Shane, hang on." They said my last name, because we don't call each other by our first names in the military. Anyway, so the last thing I remember is being shaken, them running, and feeling the turbulence from the helicopter's blades. I woke up, and the first thing I heard was Arabic. So I thought, oh geez, we got ambushed. They captured me. It wasn't enough they blew me up. They were going to cut my fucking head off. So I started screaming and freaking out. Well, I was actually in a hospital in the Green Zone, and I guess they work co-op with Iraqi doctors in there. So they had a chaplain come over and calm me down. They gave me a satellite phone, and literally probably about 8 hours, they did some emergency service. 8 hours after I was hit, I was calling my family on a satellite phone. It was about 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning in America. And I remember talking to my wife and my mom and saying, hey, it's me. I'm going to be coming home. Good news. And I remember they just started crying. They're like, it was only 3 months into my deployment. They knew something was wrong. And I started crying. And I said, they got me. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to see again. They say my right eye's completely gone, and they're trying to save my left eye. Shortly thereafter, later that night, I was medevaced to Germany. Spent about a week there. I regained my sight and had some more stabilization surgeries before they could ship me over, fly me to Washington, D.C., to Walter Reed. And then there, they fitted me with, they took out my eye, my right eye there, and they, weeks later, fitted me with my prosthetic. I served in the Army for 2 more years after that. I was forcefully discharged medically, so now I'm retired. It was against my will. I went to military school since I was 14, planning a military career, was in the service the day I turned 17. They promised me when they gave me my Purple Heart that I was a good soldier, that I would not be discharged. I had nothing to worry about my career. Went and bought a house. So the year it took, once they did discharge me in 2006 and retired me, the year it took them for the VA to get my retirement from leaving the Army, I lost my house and had a foreclosure. And I'm sure there's many other soldiers that went through this. Other than that, the government has done pretty good by me. But the reason for discharging me was PTSD. And this is a catch-22 for all soldiers needing help when they go through that stuff. If you openly state you have PTSD, they're going to discharge you. It's just the letter on my desk one day when I came in 2 years after my injury that PTSD is not a retainable aspect. You will be discharged on so-and-so date. And it's been a struggle. I was lucky that they did a lot of work on me, and other than my glass eye, I look pretty much normal. There's a lot of guys out there that aren't that lucky. But I'd like to thank everybody that watches my videos and that supports the troops. Your comments help me get through things. I like to deal things with things joking and everything, but I have issues just like a lot of other soldiers from it. Anyway, that's how I lost my eye, and I'll leave a link to the one of the written stories that the newspapers did when I got home there, a little more detailed. I don't really want to go into that personally. But yeah, thanks for your support. Please keep watching. I'm no Shane Dawson, but I try to make people laugh and try to make other soldiers and other people that have lost their eye look at it in a different way. So this being one of the more serious videos I've done, again, thank you. And I'm going to dedicate this video to my old bunkmate when I was in Iraq, another machine gunner, Corey Haig. He's serving another tour over there with an infantry unit right now, and I pray that he comes back. He's my best friend in the military. Keep all of our soldiers in your prayers. Alright, this is One-Eyed Jack, signing off.
The day is coming, the drums are drumming. If you know one, say a prayer. There's mothers crying, and father's sighing, war is in the air. The trains are filling up with boys who've left behind their